Hello, it's the 19th of August 2015. I am Arthur Marshall, analyst with AHDB Cereals and Oilseeds, and today I'll be giving you a short update on the grain markets. We'll be keeping an eye out on what to look out for. As harvest progresses in the Northern Hemisphere, it's becoming increasingly clear what supplies and production for 2015-16 are going to be, and this is really what markets are becoming focused on right now. UK wheat futures have generally been on a downward trend since early July. We've seen them now set a new contract low, closing yesterday at £114 a tonne. This has broken the previous level of support, which you can see with this line at around the £117.50 level. Earlier in August, we did see a brief rally. This was essentially caused by fears over the French maize crop, but we saw price rises in UK feed wheat capped by the availability of other imported feed grains. And when the USDA latest revised figures for world supply and demand came out on the 12th of August, we saw the market reminded even more so that an individual production issue in one area isn't so much an issue on the global picture. We've seen, in general, global feed grain stocks and supplies are looking quite good. We're now seeing wheat production for 2015-16 is now forecast higher than it was last year. And we also saw the maize market, which also impacts on the UK feed wheat prices. We're seeing an increasing stocks cushion, and that really reminds the market that you can't get through 2 years of stock build-up without having that cushion which can offset any declines in production. But that trend isn't universal across the world, and when we look at Europe, we can see that European feed grains, the European market picture, we can see the European market is looking tighter than the market in the rest of the world, with decreasing stock estimates both compared to last year and from the previous estimates. And essentially a lower stock estimate indicates a tighter market, and that is really what that means for the European prices and European market. Means it's less vulnerable to any further price falls potentially in the world market. Means it's the first to rise and the last to fall in the event of any shocks to global grain prices. So looking forward, what are we continuing to look out for? Well, the markets are remaining sensitive to the supply picture as it develops and as harvest progresses, but in the coming months they will also become increasingly focused on the demand side once the supply picture becomes clearer. And as we've suggested, the European supply picture is bucking the trend for the global supplies. We've seen a market tightening in Europe against the global trend. And really the question is, how much can that provide support for the European market compared to the world market? Looking at the UK, the harvest is progressing and yields and production are looking pretty good. It's hard to say for any definite right now, and we know there are potentially some issues further north. So it remains to be seen exactly what the final UK harvest picture is. And it comes down not just to quantity but to quality. And the eventual distribution of quality wheat stocks, for example, across the world will impact how much various markets in different areas will interact. We know there are some challenges for US winter wheat quality, whereas anecdotally it does appear that European wheat quality is pretty good. And even just a return to average quality would be an improvement over last year. So keep an eye out on our markets page. We have weekly harvest reports for the UK. We also have our first cereals quality survey figures due out in the next few weeks. Both of these will give us a clearer picture of how the UK picture relates to the rest of the world. And also our Grain Market Daily will give you a daily update on where the markets are and where prices are going. In October, we'll have a much better idea of the global picture, and that's when we've got our Grain Market Outlook conference, which will give you a complete picture of the outlook for the 2015-16 season. Thank you.